Hi everyone, I'm Linda Reimer, one of the librarians at the Southeast Bend County Library. Welcome to Library Connections, our weekly readers, viewers, and listeners advisory videocast. And Happy New Year! And no, your eyes don't deceive you. The band on this hat actually does say 2000. It's the only New Year's hat I have, and I can't believe it's 20 years old. So I added a post-it note so I was current, because we know we're welcoming 2021 and not 2000. So I digress. Getting back to Library Connections this week, I'm offering a special episode that highlights some of the best nonfiction titles of 2020. And next week we'll go back to our traditional format. So I hope you enjoy this edition of Library Connections. Library Connections number 36, hosted by SSCL librarian Linda Reimer. This is the Thursday, January 1st, 2021 edition. Like last week, this is a special edition of Library Connections. This week we're going to focus on a selection of 10 of the best nonfiction titles for 2020. And again, this shorter list is compiled from a larger collection of titles recommended by the New York Public Library. The first book of our 10 selected nonfiction titles, and just a reminder again that these are in alphabetical order. So having said that, our first selection is Caste, The Origins of Our Discontents, written by Isabel Wilkerson. Wilkerson examines the nature of historical caste systems to reveal how a rigid hierarchy of human rankings, enforced by religious views, heritage, and stigma, affect everyday American lives. Our second selection is Desert Notebooks, a roadmap for the end of time, written by Ben Ehrenreich. Ehrenreich weaves together climate science, mythologies, nature writing, and personal experiences to examine how the unprecedented pace of destruction to our environment has led us to the brink of calamity. Our third title is Eat a Peach, a memoir by David Chang. The star of Ugly Delicious traces his upbringing as a youngest son in a deeply religious Korean American family, his search for identity, his struggles with manic depression, and his unlikely rise as one of his generation's most influential chefs. And I have to stop for a moment here and say that every time I see that title, Eat a Peach, I'm reminded of the old album of the same name by the Allman Brothers, which, by the way, is available through Hoopla. So if you'd like to check out Eat a Peach by the Allman Brothers, perhaps for background music while reading Eat a Peach by David Chang, you'll be all set. Our fourth title is Homie, Poems by Danez Smith. An intimate tribute to friendship weaves stories of community building and breaking with brilliant wit. Moving on to our fifth recommendation, the book Intimations, 6 Essays by Zadie Smith. Written during the early months of lockdown, Smith's essays explore ideas and questions prompted by an unprecedented situation. A very timely book. We could describe the entire year 2020 as unprecedented, but I digress. Moving right along. Our sixth recommendation is the book The Loneliness of the Long-Distance Cartoonist, written by Adrian Tomina. Tomina illustrates the amusing absurdities of how we choose to spend our time, all the while mining his conflicted relationship with comics and comics culture. At number 7, Memorial Drive, A Daughter's Memoir by Natasha Trethewey. The former U.S. Poet Laureate remembers the brutal murder of her mother at the hands of her former stepfather, and how this profound experience of loss shaped her as an adult and as an artist. At number 8, Minor Feelings, an Asian American reckoning, written by Kathy Park Hung. Hung's book blends memoir, cultural criticism, and history to expose fresh truths about radicalized consciousness in America. At number 9, we have The Splendid and the Vile by Erik Larson, which actually has a much longer title. The whole thing is The Splendid and the Vile, a saga of Churchill, family, and defiance during the Blitz. Drawing on personal diaries, archival documents, and declassified intelligence, Larson examines Winston Churchill's life during the Blitz and his role in uniting England. And if you like history and you haven't read this one, it is really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And at number 10, we have Vesper Flights, new and collected essays written by Helen MacDonald. A collection of essays about humanity's relationship with nature, exploring subjects ranging from captivity and immigration to ostrich farming and the migrations of songbirds from the Empire State Building. And our first streaming recommendation for this week, just in case you have some extra time this weekend to watch some videos. Of course, reading books is always great fun too, but it might be time for some video watching over this long weekend. So the first recommendation is for the movie Blow the Man Down. This is a 2020 release, available through Amazon Prime Video. Welcome to Easter Cove, a salty fishing village located on the far reaches of Maine's rocky coast. Grieving the loss of their mother and facing an uncertain future, Mary Beth and Priscilla Connolly cover up a gruesome run-in with a dangerous man. To conceal their crime, the sisters must go deeper into Easter Cove's underbelly and uncover the town matriarch's darkest secrets. Moving on to our second streaming recommendation for this week, it's the film Extraordinary from 2019, available now through Amazon Prime, Google Video, and other platforms. Rose, a mostly sweet and lonely small-town driving instructor, must use her supernatural talents to save the daughter of Martin, also mostly sweet and lonely, from a washed-up rock star who is using her in a satanic pact to reignite his fame. This film was a Grand Jury Award finalist at the 2019 SXSW Film Festival, and the movie is a horror rom-com hybrid that somehow manages to blend its ingredients without losing their flavor. Extraordinary more than lives up to its title, and that is from Rotten Tomatoes. And our third streaming recommendation for this week is one that many of you probably have already seen, but in case you haven't, it's Hamilton, the 2020 filmed version of the play, available now through Disney+. For those who haven't heard of it, and I'm sure there are a few people out there who haven't, the Broadway musical tells the story of the life of founding father Alexander Hamilton. And since we can't currently see it on Broadway, here is the next best thing, a filmed version of the play. Rotten Tomatoes had this to say about the video. Look around. Look around at how beautifully Hamilton shines beyond Broadway and at how marvelously Thomas Calais captures the stage show's infectious energy. So if you haven't seen Hamilton, it's a good time to watch it now. And here briefly are our references of the week. And that's our program for this week. I'll be back next week with a new edition of Library Connections.